More on today's executive order and the continued efforts to combat the homelessness crisis. We're joined by, this is the Mayor of Santa Monica, Phil Brock. Mayor, good to have you tonight.
Nice to be here.
When you heard this break this afternoon, or early this morning, I should say, what was your initial reaction?
Well, my initial reaction was to contact our city attorney and see what the result is. The reaction right now is it doesn't do anything in Santa Monica except help clear the I-10. So the Santa Monica Freeway embankments have homeless people on them. We have to press Caltrans sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month to clear those areas. That's also where we get arson fires. This ruling, as I understand it so far, doesn't affect the streets. It doesn't affect Santa Monica beaches. It doesn't affect downtown. It only affects state of California property. So in Santa Monica, those are the Santa Monica Freeway embankments.
And with the ruling that Alex just mentioned, the Supreme Court ruling that came down about a month ago, you didn't necessarily need the governor's blessing, which it seems like that's what's happening today.
But I think that provides more impetus to get things done, to not slough off the Supreme Court ruling. We have to deal with people on our streets, and quite frankly, we're compassionate and humane in Santa Monica, but we also have to be compassionate toward our residents, toward our businesses, and it's not compassionate to let people die on Santa Monica streets.
So just to be clear on how this works, because I'm trying to understand it, so the state lands, the state will be responsible for that, or this is allowing you as the city to move into state lands and do this?
The state is responsible for state lands, and what the governor said is they will develop a policy for the state to follow, to clear lands and use the highway patrol, use Caltrans, and hopefully use homeless services as well. In Santa Monica, we are looking at the Supreme Court ruling, and it will come on our agenda on August 27th.
And so what do you want to see happen?
My position is we need to go to the maximum of the law. That doesn't mean we need to enforce it, but we have to provide our police, our public safety personnel, the opportunity to enforce it, to make sure that we are able to clear people from our streets and our beaches. And Sunday, we had a lady who has been on our beach, south end of the beach. Police had contacted her 4 times, and she refused housing. We said, we have a place right now. They will drive her to San Michelle, which is one of our homeless shelters. She refused. She said, I want to stay on the beach. Well, at that point, that may be a person who needs to be cited. If she has a tent legally in Santa Monica, we can remove her tent, and we may have to try and force her into a different living situation. We can't have our streets and our beaches just taken over every day.
Yeah, and to that example, it took 4 times.
And still nothing.
And still nothing. And so for the residents, you talked about having compassion for your residents there. You look at the promenade, which has really taken a hit since the pandemic. You see all the homeless people who won't go to Santa Monica because of the beaches and the beauty of it. So when it comes to that, is there a limit? Is there, when you say you don't have to enforce it, when you tell your law enforcement that?
I would say we reached our limit several years ago. And yes, it's hurt the promenade. It's hurt resident confidence in walking our streets and feeling safe in a beautiful place. So we have to make changes. And the Supreme Court decision will help us. But frankly, I've got Metro, who drops off the end of the E-line 45 to 60 homeless people every night, with no place to go between midnight and 2 a.m. That's abominable. I can't support that.
And that's part of the challenge with this, because this could be just a whack-a-mole, right? So if you take them off of the promenade, maybe then they go to L.A. or Culver City or some other place, and then it's just moving around. We're not actually fixing the problem.
And that's been the situation. That's what I think Mayor Bass said today, that this will just move people, but not affect any real substantial change. And we need a change, and that has to come from the federal government, the state government, and county aid. Cities cannot do this by themselves. 96% approximately of our homeless people in Santa Monica are not from LA County. That
Wow.
goes for Venice and Santa Monica.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we thank you for taking the time out on this Thursday night. Thanks so much, the mayor of Santa Monica, Phil Brock.
Yeah, we could spend an hour talking about this.
Yeah,
It's
we
such
really
a big
could.
issue. Thank you for coming in.